Good morning YouTube and welcome back to the channel. And today we are back at Rikers Calf with Kelvin's truly special RD500. Now this has been in the pipe work for Kelvin for 2 years and we used in the Yambretta last year was just absolutely incredible. So Kelvin, over to you. Tell us about this wonderful bike and what you have built here. Another beauty from the workshop.
After building a Yambretta, I was looking for another project and I watched a video on Alan Millyard. He was building one of his engines, and though I thought it looked quite doable, to be honest.
But it's far from doable for most people, Kelvin. That's what you need to stress here. This is like true engineering excellence at its finest.
I also bumped into him at Goodwood last year where we were, I said to him, where'd you get the enthusiasm for building these things? He just looked at me and smiled, So we had a chat and bits and pieces. And he said to me, the thing is, I don't use Yamaha, I only use Kawasaki and other bits and pieces. And now I know why. Building this, I understand why he uses Yamaha, because it's not as easy as it is. It's not as easy as it looks,
Well, it's certainly a one-off, that's for sure. And is there, to your knowledge, Kelvin, another one of these in the world?
The Yambretta, there was other ones in the world. This is the only one of this.
Wow. As if it rolled out the factory. We got all the dirt boys coming in as well, making a lot of noise in front of our video, but it's all right, we'll carry on. Is there anything else you want to add, Kelvin? Is that your speech for the...
No, I'm fine. The engines were bolted together. They're two 1977 RD350s, bolted together, line board,
yeah,
and then welded with the plates that cover the two engines had different orifices all over the place. So to make it look factory, plates are welded. The engine was put in my barbecue for 3 hours. Why we to stress relieve it.
Bring it back.
And then basically it was the cranks were sent away. 3 cranks were sent away. I had the end crank for the ignition was an RD350 crank. I was trying to use an RD350 electronic ignition because these originally come with points. And the problem is I had the coils uprated, I input dyno coils on, and the problem was I just couldn't get the spark good enough. So when the engine would run, but 2 cylinders were running at 170 and the other 2 were at 30. So it was a big problem. So what I did was I sent off for a vape system from Croatia, which cost a lot of money, and put that on, and it's been perfect ever since, really. But I do now understand why Millyard doesn't use ignition system. He uses points because they're cheap. They're cheaper.
Yeah. And do you mind now? I mean, the big one, Kelvin, I'm sure on everyone's mind, and you don't have to answer that. What do you think this has cost you to make this here? And don't answer that if you don't want to. Because
no. This has cost me altogether. It was quite cheap until we got to the ignition system, and it was sending away ignition system, trying to find out how to work it. So without the ignition system, you're probably talking of 7.5 grand. With the ignition system and all the problems we have with it, it's probably 10,000 now. 10,
but it's a one-off, and in a day of age that we're in now, where 2-strokes are just no longer on the road, I mean, most normal 250s are £10,000, let alone a truly custom built. And how many hours do you think you've put into this build?
Oh, God.
2 years in the working.
Well, it wasn't 2 years in the working. It was probably 6 months solid, and then the rest was sourcing parts and everything else, Another problem was the exhausts as well. To try and get them to look factory, it took me about 2 weeks to fabricate the exhaust. I fabricated them.
And you did the exhaust yourself?
I fabricated the exhaust, and it took me 2 weeks. So if you look at it, they look absolutely square on wherever you're looking.
It looks factory perfect.
Yeah.
Wow. And you were saying the bike's been on the dyno, but only on a sort of initial run, is that right?
So it's been on the dyno. At 5,000 RPM, it twists the rear wheel, so it twists the rear chassis. So basically, they had to stop the dyno test.
And what was that at when it twisted the rear chassis?
I think it was at, I think they were talking about 58 or 60 brake horsepower. It wasn't a lot, but it was low down revs.
And it just couldn't handle any more than that?
It couldn't handle any more than that.
So has it been revised now, or is it?
No, it's still the same.
It's still the same.
The rear sprocket needs to be changed because it's too big, because it's so low grunty. It's not a rever, it's only, well, I'm still running it in. 44 miles I've done so far.
Yeah, baby still.
I'm taking it to 4,000, but I don't think she'll rev over 6. So it's more of a grunty than a revvy,
just to enjoy that two-stroke goodness. And
Yeah.
like you say, looking at the pipe work, I can't believe you did all this yourself as well, because it just looks factory. You wouldn't like the way it all lines up, as you say.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it took a long time to get it sorted out, you know.
Certainly becoming rarer and rarer now, two-strokes. For those that haven't seen Kelvin's Yambretta video, I'll put Kelvin's details in the description if he wants to include anything, if you have any more technical questions. But we'll fire it up and hopefully give you guys a good insight to this truly custom RD500. Kelvin, thank you, sir, for coming down, showing it off for the channel. Awesome. Kelvin was kind enough to send over some images from behind the scenes of the build. As you can probably see, if you know what you're looking at, this is no easy task building something like this. Absolutely incredible engineering. And again, a big thanks to Kelvin for showing off the project. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more things to come from him. And we met one of his friends down at the Le Caf as well, that's also got some cool projects to show us. So if you did enjoy, stay tuned, like and subscribe, and until the next one.